Welcome to the Walk Podcast, where we will discuss how we use the biblical word to navigate through our daily lives. I'm Faye, and today I'm with,
Crystal.
and our guest today is Jay Montague.
How we doing? How we doing?
Good.
Right?
Feeling good today. So today we're going to start off with the NIV, Malachi chapter 3, verse 10. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there will be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessings that there will not be room enough to store it.
What does this mean?
That you trust him and pay your tithes, and he'll supply all of your needs beyond what you can store.
So for the people who don't know, what is a tithe? Like, what is that?
Okay. What is a tithe?
I'm asking you. A tenth, right?
Right?
Yeah. A tenth of what?
It's a tenth.
Of
Is it-
your income.
Anything that you bring home, right?
Correct.
Anything?
Well, before taxes.
Because
Right.
it doesn't, right? Well, I say anything because it doesn't necessarily have to be from a work, right? It could be
Right. Just,
Okay.
just,
Yeah.
yeah. Right. Income.
your
Right.
your tax refund,
Okay.
right? That's something that you brought. It's coming in.
Yes,
It's
income.
income. Therefore,
That's
a tenth of it should go
Brings
And
to
the
you
him.
whole-
know, the tax is all tax season, April 14th. Deadline is tomorrow for those who did not file yet. Even in the IRS says other income. So yes, absolutely, you got your W-2 income, and then you have your other sources of income as well. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there will be food in my house.
So, Jay, how are you with tithing? How long have you been tithing?
I've been tithing. I've been giving offerings since for me since the day of our Lord. That had been in the early '80s when I was born. Tithing as far as a 10%, like specific to 10%. When I feel led and when I have it, a multitude of reasons, then I do it. I'm a cheerful giver, regardless of what I give. I know the word absolutely says you can give a tenth. You get more than a tenth, but if you're giving grudgingly,
Yeah.
then basically, this is
Not
not
the
the
same.
NIV version. This is like the other version. God is like, keep your money. He likes a cheerful giver.
Yes, he does like
So, but what I want to do is I want to look at it as a word right there. Trying to see what
Storehouse?
it means. No.
Which one?
So bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there will be food in my house. I had the luxury of sitting in before for a little bit before this session started.
Yes.
And I heard y'all saying something about like a word of the day. Sound about right?
Discernment.
Right. That was the word of the day for that session. Can I change it? Do I have permission?
Yeah.
For
What's
an
the word
additional-
of the day?
Origin. Origin.
Oh, I know where this going.
All right. So, watch this. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there will be food in my house.
Yeah.
We know who talking here.
Yes.
Food in my watch this though. This is the same God that took 5 red lobster biscuits, 5 loaves of bread, right? If it was today, it'd probably be 5 red lobster biscuits or 5 servings of naan, and boom. So is he really talking about food? Right. So let's talk about the origin of a few things. I'm assuming, right? We all, to an extent, we like to get an idea of where our makeup products come from, where our food, whether it's farm-raised shrimp or shrimp from the Atlantic, right? We like to get an idea of the origin of our food. We know that we're talking about tithes here, right? So we're talking about money, right? We got a whole bunch of people, we included in that, right, who talk about money in a whole lot of different ways. Cheese, give me one. Food related to money.
Oh, cheddar.
Cheddar, give me one.
Bananas.
But
Yeah, I used to say that growing up. We all got bad bananas. Like,
you got bad bananas. Okay. Chicken.
I never heard of that one.
Absolutely.
People call money chicken.
Absolutely. There's chicken, there's cheese, it's a whole, watch this. And we walk around talking and don't even know where stuff come from. It's right there. It's in the book where that guy was already using terminologies of food to talk about money. So I believe we're talking about money when he says so that there will be food in my house.
Yeah.
Chicken, cheese, bananas, right? So we talking about where the origin of that came from, right? Here we are, we 2024, and we looking back to, I'm not sure when the book of Malachi, give me time frame.
Right. That's what I know. That's
All
it.
right.
I can't put no numbers in front of that.
So yeah, so that's what stands out to me. So absolutely. Then it says the Lord will open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that you won't have room to receive. He never said he was pouring back out food. Just a blessing. Right?
Makes me think about King Solomon.
Tell me.
So
Tell us.
Solomon, when he became king, right? You know, God asked.
What book we talking about?
What book is Solomon in?
She's talking about the story.
But I don't know which book it is in
All right,
in
go
the
ahead.
Bible. Which book is it? But I can't remember.
He became king.
Yeah, he became king, and he God asked him straight up, like what do you want? Because God, he had a lot of favor, and he just said, I want wisdom on how to be a king. Like, how do I have a great kingdom? That's all he asked for, was wisdom. And because he prayed for something to help his people, like God opened up the floodgates of heaven and just blessed him. Like, he was rich in every way imaginable, not just in money, but in life, period. So like that
That's
makes
a
me
good way to look at it.
that automatically makes me think about Solomon. He's a great example of that, and he definitely tithed everything that he got. He gave back because he knew it was from
so
God.
just because you're tithing moolah doesn't mean that what you'll receive is moolah, but you'll receive blessings that you.
The stuff that you need,
Yes.
he'll bless. Yes, because we don't even know what
I
we
was
need.
actually thinking today to myself, I was like, I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. Just thinking about my kids and how healthy they are. And I was like, you know, when you just stop to appreciate those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I mean, I myself, I do tithe. I think I started tithing when I started, you know, going to church as an adult. You know, my pastor at the time was that, you know, plant your seed, watch it grow, and I was like, I'm on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's tithing for me, even as an adult, like going to church consistently, and you know they break down like what is tithing and let you know like is not for the pastor or the bishop so they could get rich. It's not what it is. Like you can't go in there with that mindset. But even in that, I still wasn't consistent with it until I felt like I needed to establish a stronger relationship with God and pray more, and like I realized in this relationship I was getting a lot more, and that's when it made me feel like how do I
Reciprocate.
like yeah, how do I reciprocate? And then just in reading the word and it being broken down to me, and back then a lot of times what they gave was sheep. Like they would, that was their offering, right? That was, they would offer the fattest calf, right? That was their offering. But I was like, what do I now in 2020 whatever when it was, what do I give? I can give a tenth of what I make, and no lie, it was like a tenth. And I used to sit and think, I would go through the Bible, look, does it say before tax or after tax? Does it say anywhere? Because if you think the government is taking it from me, they took theirs already.
I always did after.
So, but I always, yeah. So I started thinking, I was like, well, I'm not this is never mine. Like the
Yes,
federal tax is
correct.
never mine. But anything else, like my health insurance and 401k, I'm choosing to do that. So I
Yes.
can't include that in it. So I had to literally like start doing math and but I prayed on it because I wanted to make sure like he knows me. And although even when I go to church and I've been taught in church that is before taxes, I still choose to like just pray on it. But like, is what's right and what's not, and is he gonna be upset with me? And I don't believe that. But I also know that
I mean, at the same time, it's your heart.
yeah, and I know that everything that I have and that I've came out of is because of him. And the way that I honor him is in my behavior, right? In my worship, in my praise, and everything that I got, I owe him. And he's only asking for a tenth of it. He straight up told Abraham to take his son out. He was about to do that. That's another. Jesus gave up his whole life. I can't give 10%.
So when we tithe or give our, so I prefer the term offering, right? Because again, I in my relationship and understanding of God and His Word is you could be a billionaire and give your tenth, and you just giving it, but out of a sense of obligation. You feel like it's a sense of obligation. Gotta keep your money. It doesn't mean anything to him because
It
he
don't,
doesn't
right?
need it.
Yeah, exactly, right?
So let's go back to this word origin, right? Okay. I'm gonna stop with the hand gestures. Somebody. All right. So we talk about what was told to you in church, whether as a child, or as an adult, last week, 2 months ago, in regards to tithing. Like, why are we tithing? When we tithe, here we go. When we tithe or give an offering, we're saying what? Like in a sense, we're saying we're following your word. You told us to tithe.
And that like I could give this up because it means nothing without you. You can have this. I trust you. Like whatever I have, I can give. I'm gonna give it to you, and I'm not gonna obsess over this portion of money because it's not gonna make or break me. Because even without it, if I don't have it, you're still gonna carry me. It's a sacrifice,
Right.
And
literally.
for me, it's like me putting my trust in him.
Okay.
Like letting him know you're my source.
Okay.
So yeah, this 10% belongs to you because you're my source. You're my
But he's not just your source, right? He's your source. He's your source, right? He's all of our sources. All right, that's cool. So
Thanks.
no. I just.
He
Like,
said,
I
"Oh, that's
feel
cool.
like,
Thank you."
I want to just like unpack it and see where.
So what is it for you though?
So for a while, for a very long time, it was like, we got these commandments, we have all of these expectations and so forth. So we follow them, but we have a tendency, I think, and it's our human nature at times to like follow expectations, like we follow laws, right?
Like a rule,
and rules and right. But and then we miss context, right? So we clearly know we all talking about the same God. It's only one. It's right. Check it out. He don't need no chicken, no cheese, no bananas,
No bananas.
no cheddar, right? He don't need it.
Nope.
But and then there was obviously in Old Testament days, and then maybe a little in New Testament, where there was the sacrifice and offering of sheep. calf and cattle and so forth. And if we look into those individuals who that's where their riches were, and now we are in 2024. Our riches primarily consist of money. Give it. So he's saying, let me see where your heart is. So, but I think the idea in it is the term give, right? So we're gonna talk about, it's not in there, but we'll bring it up, if I have permission, and then we can dissect it. Eulogia, right? Eulogia, where we essentially get the word eulogy from, right? So eulogia, EU, means good in the Greek, and logia means word
Professor
in the Greek.
Jay.
I'm going somewhere. It means, so EU means good, and because we're talking about the origin, where stuff come from, to make it really make sense. Logia, word. Put it together, good word. Where we get the word that we use now, eulogy, from. So, for example, God rest his soul, I went to my nephew's funeral. I was able to speak a good word because I knew the deceased. I can speak a good word about the deceased because I know the deceased. If I didn't know the deceased, like when we go to funerals, kind of like as a support, like your friend of your friend, and I'm going because it's my wife, so I'm going to go, but I don't know the deceased. So even if they asked me to say something, I can't say anything because I don't know the deceased. So when we don't give anything, when it's time for offering, we essentially are saying that we don't know anything. So when I give, it's because it's a declaration, not that I
You
make
having a relationship.
$1 million. I do not make $1 million. Right, and here's a 10 for that. I don't even make it, so therefore I don't even know what a 10th of $1 million would be. Let's keep it practical. Let's just say I made $50,000 annually, right? And
100,000?
for the million,
It's
be
either
more than
100
that.
or 10.
But either way, right? So rather, I'm giving out of obligation, a sense of obligation versus a sense of declaration. So that's where I'm giving from. Like that's where, and it took me a long while because again, I was like, oh man, I'm seeing everybody else write their checks and use their envelopes, and I'm getting a statement back for for tax purposes and so forth and so forth. And it's just like I'm doing it because out of more of a sense of obligation as opposed to a sense of declaration and declaration of relationship and knowing Christ. Because you got some people who give because they come to church on Easter Sunday or one of those other days and don't even know God, not saved or anything, but they see everybody else doing
So
it.
they feel like they have
We
to.
write this check.
So it's like, it's for for you, it's that relationship is bond, and you know why you're giving.
Correct, because I can speak well about the deceased because I know him
Jesus.
fairly well.
Well, Jesus is
good.
alive. Jesus is alive. He has risen.
Yes.
He has, but he has also died for our sins.
He did. Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. So
I want to journey on to Mark 11:24. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours.
Facts. Facts. I feel like I'm a walking testament
Amen.
Tell
to that. Tell us.
Tell us.
It's so many examples that I have. Oh, where should I start?
You got 30 seconds,
No,
and
don't
you're
put me
on
on.
there, right? And you're
No,
on
there is
because you have so many.
Yeah, because he's so amazing. Like
Right.
in this relationship that I've created with him because I chose to, and I literally I speak to him like I'm just speaking to a friend, but it's more than just any friend because I'm not as vulnerable with other humans as I am with God, right? And he know me deeper than anything. But I mean, when I tell you, if I pray for something, and of course it has to be in His will.
Yes.
I've learned now that it needs to be a part of His will for me, and not just because I want it. And regardless if it happens instantly or 3 years later, like it happens. And
timing.
yes, His time is and it's amazing because He lets me know it's gonna happen. This is because this is my relationship. I know this is not the same for everybody. I'm not saying that, I'm only speaking for Crystal, but He will show me in a dream exactly what He's going to do, just to let me know, like, I heard you, it is going to happen. And to be honest, sometimes I don't even understand the dream, but I know like it's comforting. I could wake up and feel like,
We need to start falling asleep at the same time.
like I know, like, all right, I pray for this, it's going to happen. And then I literally have to be, sometimes if it takes like a long, long time, I literally remind myself of that dream because sometimes I may feel discouraged. Like, no, there's no way what He said is going to happen. Kind of reminds me of Abraham and Sarah. So Sarah, she wanted to have a baby, right? And she was super, super old and she could not conceive. And then she told Abraham, her husband, to go have a baby with the slave, the Egyptian slave. And she ended up getting pregnant. But God sent the angel down to let Sarah know, like, you are going to have a son. Sarah didn't believe it. It did happen, but back then He was sending angels down. I'm not getting angels coming to me, but He is showing me.
She was of age.
She was in her right in like 90s, in her hundreds, and she ended up having
And you don't
Isaac.
go see your OBGYN at 150 talking about I want to have a baby. You go see your psychiatrist.
And it's the prayer that you believe. You got to believe before you receive it that you're going to receive
and
it.
Her husband Abraham had all the favor. Like, all the favor was on Abraham. Like, he knew his wife really wanted this. So, like, even just in marriages, like, both of y'all may not be praying for the same thing, but if you're both consistent, whatever you're praying about, if it's in God's will, it will happen. But like it says, you have to believe it. You can't doubt Him. You can't pray for it and then be like, oh, it's not going to happen, because it won't. Absolutely will not.
It's funny
happen.
you said that. I heard someone say today, a preacher say today that I was listening to, and he was, could we always know? In fact, I'm gonna say it, and I know for sure you all could say the other side of it. You reap what you
sow,
right, and but he never said you reap where you sow. Right, so sometimes is you may reap in a way of helping someone out financially. That's what you sowed, right? So, but where you sow it is always different. It could be years down the line. It could be a healthy child, 2, 3 all your healthy children, a healthy mate, a healthy husband, healthy wife. But we look sometimes. I think people get tunnel vision into like, oh, I pray for this. And God answered it 3 years ago, but you looking for this, you looking for that, something specific, and but we miss it.
The prayer might come in it might look different.
It might look different
because then it's kind of like His will, right? That's kind of look at it like, even if I'm praying for something, I'm believing for something, and but then it looks different once it comes, but you can feel it. It's that confirmation, like, this is what I prayed for. And it makes me, I noticed, hearing numerous prayers that I've prayed for that have come to pass, and especially a lot of them look different than what I prayed for, but when it happened, I felt it, like, this is what I've been praying for. And I know for me, I prayed for, like, just security, because, there was a time in my life where I didn't have that, homeless and, feeling like nobody was there to support me. And I feel like, He positioned me to now where I feel like I mean, I feel like, because he's my source. I just feel like no matter, I always tell people I feel recession proof.
Okay.
Because I feel like no matter what's going on, no matter what things look like, he's going to supply all my needs.
Mhm.
And I feel like even though things don't look the way I once envisioned them, but what I feel is that security.
I used to. I can't necessarily say that I bona fide old school, put my hands together, bow my head, because we know we in the middle of a crisis. We in the middle of we driving down 95 or 76, Interstate 80, 70 or 10, East Coast or West Coast. Gotta be call us a fool if we close our eyes and bow our head on I-70 and
We can
set
pray
on
in a
70,
moment.
right? We can just pray.
Yeah.
So I can't say I ever, I just want a voice. I wanted a voice for a very long time.
got a voice?
But I wanted a voice, a singing voice, to be specific,
Oh.
right? I wanted a singing voice.
Can he sing?
I cannot
No.
sing
That's
to
not
save
that wasn't part of God's
my
will for his life.
But guess what? But God.
Aw, she sure can.
Yes, sir. Watch this. And I missed it for a very long time. He
Aw.
been gave me a voice. It's not the voice I was looking for. Because I'd be a fool. I'd be in bars, dancing on tables, spinning. I probably had 12, 13
He only give us what we can
kids.
handle.
I know. I would be a nut.
Or he knows that one day you will use it for what he wants you to.
He been gave me it. I've been missing it. And I finally caught it. I finally got it, because now I'm that voice for a lot of people. I advocate
Yes.
on a large clinical scale for lots of people who don't have the capacity to do it. So while I'm
themselves.
looking, trying to come talk to me, right? He said no. He said chill. He said
You have like
He said you can't even project your voice, Jay.
You
Right?
can't even
He
yell.
said- he
right?
said, I
but
can't-
you like charisma that people hear you when you're talking.
Right. Again, and it took me a while
To
to
realize
to realize, like, yo, I've been praying, and I've been waiting for it, hoping, and I've been trying. I was well into my 20s, still trying to practice, trying to get a note out.
That's funny. I always wanted to have a voice too. And not to be a big singer, but just so that at any given moment I could just make people feel
Just
something.
bust out, right? But you
Yo,
can't
yo.
sing
No, I can't.
for a reason.
But
don't know what that reason
I
is.
do notice, and I don't know if it's because my voice is soft, but when I do speak, people usually get quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's to hear me or if it's because, oh, I want to hear what she got to say.
Right, and God is probably, it could have intentionally laid lots of knowledge and insight into you. But if you was loud mouthed, people probably wouldn't listen.
Yeah.
But again, if you use the voice that God gave you, right, and you got people got to shut up
Because I
get-
can't
to
hear.
receive it, right?
Yes.
So, absolutely.
Aw. Well, we're going to
Yeah.
get you some voice lessons.
No, I'm telling you, you don't want to do that. Listen, it would be trouble.
Yes.
It would be trouble.
And look now you actually got a child that can sing.
Yes.
Aw.
Yeah. It's so many different. Like I said,
Yeah,
but
he
I think we
does.
all agree.
He always shows
We
it.
pray and we look and we wait, and when we're younger in Christ, and I still consider myself to be a babe in Christ,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But
Me
when we're younger in Christ, again, it was like, I pray for this job, a very specific job. Meanwhile, you deleting emails is like, it's right there, it's right
It's
there.
right-
But you want that one, and then you get it. You got a supervisor from hell, Satan's
Ugh.
cousin.
See, I'm
It's like, you
I'm
wanted
like
it.
that.
You wanted it.
Then what we do? God, get me out of this one again.
So I got a good one. I had received a referral from a family member to do HR diversity, equity, and inclusion consulting for this company. So I met with them. We discussed everything, came up with a plan, and they loved it. And then they asked me to send like a proposal and all that stuff. So I did all that. Before I hit send, I prayed to God and I was like, God, if this is not what you want me to do with this particular company, I pray that you remove them. Like if I am not meant to be a part of this, I have not heard back from them. And I was just like, oh, that's good.
Yeah. And then you don't have to feel no rejection.
I feel nothing. And I
you
was
just
like, that's
know,
it.
You just
Now,
know.
if they pop up later, I'm like, wait, so what's this?
Well, then it might be his time.
Yeah, but right now, I'm just like, oh, okay.
See, I struggle at times with the idea and the concept of like practicality, right? And I was like, perhaps the Wi-Fi signal was down and that thing might be sitting in the outbox waiting for you to actually
you might
send
resend it.
Right? But no, and we talked about that. And instead of like chasing something, because we tend our humanistic tendencies and propensities, we chase after things that we know we want.
Yeah.
And we need, oh my God, I want him, I want him, I want him, I want her, I want her. Gotta have those sneakers, gotta have this, that, and the third. And we, perhaps maybe us, maybe not us. Of course not us here. Just everybody besides us, right? Then we break the bank to buy the house. We break the bank to buy the shoes. We break the bank. Heck, some people break the bank because they needed the iPhone. What is it? 10? What's on?
15.
15? Because they
Don't
need the
ask me, 'cause
iPhone
15 Pro Max.
15 Pro Max, but the iPhone 13 was still able to update,
No,
but they
it
just
wasn't.
had to. All right, the iPhone 14
Mine's is still
perhaps.
updating.
They still like they needed to have it. So yeah, it's hard to wait sometimes. We're impatient. We are impatient beings.
I'm a window shopper.
What's that
I'm a
mean?
window shopper. So I don't like.
You know that
No
song?
voice.
50 Cent?
50 Cent.
50.
Mhm.
Where you at, 50? I don't like to do anything without thinking about it 2 and 3 times.
Okay.
And actually sometimes will get stuck, and I feel like he has to move me. Like he has to move me to do things because I don't know. I guess I'm a little.
Is it?
Scared?
I was gonna say, is it fair?
Scared.
Because don't confuse fear with common sense.
I know.
Don't confuse fear with good judgment.
So usually, if I think about it, and then if the thought goes away, then I know I wasn't supposed to do that. But if I still feel good about it, or if I get confirmation, like someone walks through the door, I was thinking about painting, and I was like, "Oh, what colors you think I should do?" Because
they say the color that you thinking about.
She said she does decor, and I was like, "That's the color that I was thinking." Okay. I was like, "All right." So then what that does, it gets me excited about the next thought that I was having because I got confirmation. But I'm usually, I think it started because when I was younger, my mom took me to buy some sneakers, and I picked them out, got them, and I got home, and I hated them. And I said, never again.
You're going to take your time.
I'm going to take my time. And ever since then, I would that's why when I was younger, I hated shopping in the malls because I had to go through all the stores, come back around, go through all the stores, come back around. It was a workout.
Ooh.
Yeah. But now with online shopping, I just make a couple carts.
Yeah.
The clicks. I tried the confirmation through, like, the vicarious confirmation through someone else. I had a house before moving over in Jersey, my house in Philly. Mm-hmm. The bedroom was painted green. It was. Is
that your color?
Heck no. It was ferocious. It was ferocious. But I remember standing in the room, empty, and trying to figure out what color was going to be painted. And my dad came over and he had his friend with him, his girlfriend with him, and he's like, yeah, he said it's gonna need a woman's touch, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, all right, so go ahead, let her pick out the paint color. It was that green, ferocious. It was. I don't even know how to explain it. It wasn't money green. It wasn't lime green. It was ferocious. So I was like, perhaps God is not going to talk to me through somebody else. I had to find out.
At
what
least
it
not that
is.
verse.
Not that time, not that person at least. So
Well, have you had any experiences?
yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Had a few.
yeah. Some people, and that's when I guess that's when we gotta go back to him. Is this the color God? Did you do that?
No.
Did you do that?
Nah, my uncle painted. I said, "Uncle, go ahead." I can't. Like I said, it was all blind. Like it was all blind. It's like, all right. My dad was like, "Yeah, you."
I've done that before. We didn't window shop, picked out colors, painted the whole thing, came back the next day, looked like a daycare.
Oh,
So then what we
It's
get,
bright.
we all had to tag team and paint all over again. Then it came out good. But we had to have the meeting of the mind.
do you ever? I think. Well, you probably have, but this is the greatest feeling for me is when I pray for something and it happens, and then like you forget that you pray for it, but that
Oh,
moment
yeah.
that you remember, and you're like, oh my gosh, because we want to remember so we can thank him for
Yes.
it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when you forget, then that means you can't thank him. But the moment, like you remember, you're like, yo, and then you get to
This
give
is
him
what
all
I
that,
prayed.
yeah, all that praise and that glory is like a real good feeling. Because then it's like, it makes me feel like, oh, my relationship. Oh, that's what.
I just feel like God got me.
Like, yes, all the time. Like, I know, like, it is official. He hears me. Like, I have no doubt that he knows Crystal Gale's voice. Like, he knows it. Like, there's no confusion whatsoever.
Yeah, I know he know my voice when I try to sing. I know he just start laughing.
Like, you're like, here this guy go again.
There you go. Yeah.
That's a good one. Mark 11. Which one?
Rick, I didn't get to see the time that we started.
It was like 6:35.
Okay, I thought it was 6:30. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to stay on Mark?
So
You can go.
1, 2, 3. So I want to go into Matthew 4, 1 through 3. Then Jesus was led into the wilderness by the Spirit to be tempted by the devil. After 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. Satan came to Jesus and said, "If you are the Son of God, then prove it. Turn these stones into bread."
Can I just say something real quick? 'Cause sometimes the Bible be having me cracking it up because it's like after 40 days and nights, he was hungry. Duh! Like, I think Jesus was more than hungry. Like, hungry is not the word at this point.
So I wonder, well, I think it said he had water, right?
No.
No, Jesus said, I don't think he had anything.
I think that's. Think about it. We talk about origin. We talk about the origin, right? We walk around. I'm gonna say it. Y'all gonna finish it. Y'all not gonna let me down. Starving like
Marvin.
for Cool J song.
Oh, no.
Starving like Marvin for a Cool J song.
No.
Oh man.
No.
All right. What about the second?
And this is this. So, audience, this is where if we were home, he would have said, "You ain't from New York. You don't even know." You ain't.
All right. What about the second one? Hungrier than a
Hungrier
Hungrier
than
hungrier
a-
than a hostage. No, all right, come on. Jesus must have had to be hungrier than a hostage after 40 days and 40 nights.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I
indeed.
agree with you. Especially knowing, and it kind of pulls right into verse 3, knowing himself, knowing who his father is.
Mhm.
He could have easily We do it all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we suckers because our kids call us up. And boom, there we go. We driving, we running, we Zelling, we Appling, we Google paying, and we swipe, and what's the other stuff? You send the food.
Zelle?
Uber Eats
DoorDash.
and
Oh,
DoorDashing
yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
I'm hungry now.
DoorDash was out then.
He was dropping the manna from the sky
Right?
to the Israelites.
That knew about
That
it.
was the best DoorDash ever.
Turn these stones into bread.
And don't like people do that now. Like if you do blah 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 blah, prove it, right?
Mhm. And what you got to prove it for?
We don't.
Right? Because confirmation is within you. Right? But we do. We live in we live in a society in which we seek validation, and we seek validation from the wrong people.
Yeah, because we only should be seeking it from God.
Right?
Plain and simple.
But I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna get this Bentley, not us.
But to
Right? And to do what?
To do what?
make people feel like you got it.
Right. But it's more so
Mhm.
so that you can feel like
So you can feel like.
so you can feel it.
But most of the time,
right?
the person's still unhappy.
And then guess what? Drive down that strip and don't nobody look. And you're gonna go do what? I got to put the 20s on this. Well, they come with 20s. I got to put the 22s on it.
Gotta do something
All right.
else.
And then no one look. Then you go get a system. And then you just keep going and going. All because you're seeking
Yeah.
some sort of eye wink or whatever, however that validation is gonna come from those people that we shouldn't be trying to impress in the first place.
So the first one, then Jesus was led into the wilderness by the Spirit to be tempted by the devil. So it was like he needed to kind of show us what it looks like to be stronger than our flesh.
Mm-hmm. That it can be done. Like this, Jesus is the proof that it can be done.
Temptation.
So we cannot say I'm only human. I can't because clearly Jesus was human and he did. Discipline, obedience.
But not to discount for those listening, it's hard.
It's very
Because
hard. It's very hard. We're all three of us here. We're walking
right
with
here
Christ, and it's hard for us.
It's the hardest I've read so far.
Yeah,
But that's why the Bible exists, to show how hard it was for everyone in the Bible had trials and tribulation. It wasn't easy for nobody. For nobody. Clearly, it wasn't easy for Jesus. He was in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. He was starving like Marvin. And then, right? And then here comes Satan. Prove it. God's your father. Like now you want to mess with me? I'm hungry. Like I am starving. And you about to come and start messing with me now?
And that's the last time. Well, we know on the human side or our fleshly side, you do not mess with a man
Hungry
or woman
people.
when they are hungry.
We angry.
Right? Because we not and that's the thing. We claim we're not right? But we could change that narrative too.
Say again.
So like Faye just said, like we put a word on it, hangry, right?
No, okay.
Because we're so hungry, that's why we're so angry. But why own that? Jesus wasn't walking through the wilderness angry. He wasn't angry. So we don't have to be that way neither. Because what would happen? So that means like if we choose to fast in prayer, right? So that we can get clarity and hear from God what we need to hear and all that kind of stuff. Are we angry?
So just
Have you ever fasted and was angry while you was fasting?
Perhaps.
I can't say. I think for me, because I do, I have an attitude when I'm hungry. But I honestly,
Just when you're
I
hungry.
can't say that when I've ever fasted during like prayer for a reason, so I can hear from God, so I have a clear mindset. I've never been angry. And I
More
think because,
peaceful.
yes, I think because it was intentional, it was on purpose. I was seeking God. I was like banging at his door. I don't want nothing in my body because I need clarity.
Right. So, and perhaps this the same way, which is why perhaps the Spirit said, I know you grounded. I know you focused. So I'm gonna purposely do this.
Give you
So right, I'm
that.
gonna purposely put this in front of you to see how to see how you react. And so, and when we find ourselves fasting, I believe, I know what I've done, what I've seen you done, is we also become more intentional about where we find ourselves. In other words, you're not gonna go fasting
And go out to dinner
and
with
go
your
out to
friends.
dinner. You're not gonna
Yeah.
fast
Yes.
and go to the club, right? You're gonna fast. So we find ourselves humbling ourselves as it relates to our environment.
Mhm.
But we do have the propensity, a high propensity, to be angry when our basic needs aren't met, right? So I'm
Okay,
pulling
yeah.
a little bit of the clinical piece, right? Maslow's hierarchy of needs says that you can't talk to a person about anything if their basic needs aren't met, and their basic needs, the ground basic needs, is food, right? So then
Mhm.
there's different levels and different tiers and shelter. We're trying to talk to an individual about XYZ, and in this case, Jesus ain't ate in 40 days.
That's a lot of days. That's over a month.
Don't feed me in 4 hours and see what type of conversation you might get.
However,
However,
if you us knowing that about ourselves, right, and knowing that we can become unpleasant people, right? So if we're just having a regular day, we're not fasting on purpose. We're just having a regular day, busy,
just
not
busy.
eating.
You can't eat.
This him,
That's all day.
always
It's every day.
right. The fact that you haven't eaten, that's when we should go to God and be like, and have that conversation, because then He could put us in the right mind.
Yes.
Only He can do that. We have to acknowledge that, yes, as humans,
Correct.
this is what happens to us when we are hungry because our needs are not being met. We're not getting the food that we need, right? But who provides for us? Like we can last 40 days and 40 nights without food or water, because God will fill us up with whatever we need in order to keep going. So we can we don't have to be hangry. We created the narrative, and then we kind of like, oh, I didn't eat, so I got an attitude. But if we are mindful of that attitude and say, you know what? No, that is not. Yes, I didn't eat, but I don't need to have an attitude. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna speak with love. We're gonna be like 1 Corinthians, right? Because love is not angry. Love is not hangry.
I always try to, when I recognize I'm off, state it. Oh, I'm a little bit this, just so that I check myself before I even
Wreck yourself.
start. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But that's. I feel like that's.
So, but let's go back, because
Okay.
you asked, you said, but did he have water? And and then you was like,
So I don't think so.
Right. And but then you was like, he wasn't angry through his 40 days and 40 nights. But I mean, I would suggest that we probably would need to tap into, maybe perhaps we can do that. Really dive into it, because we don't know. It doesn't say whether he was or was not. Right? It does not. It does. It gives no clear indication. But what is a clear indication, it is written in the Bible, is that it's okay to be angry.
Oh
But
yeah,
sin
we know
not.
God was angry all the
Right.
time.
But sin, right?
But sin
he
not.
wiped out.
Oh, he wiped
He
out.
told Noah,
couple
build a
times.
boat. It's coming.
Burnt down Sodom and Gomorrah. Turned what's his name, wife into
And
a pillar of salt.
I think he, those emotions help us in our walk with him, because it's like our signal that something's wrong.
Yep, just like headaches, diarrhea.
And like you said,
Well,
to go to him,
Right. Yeah.
So the
So-
reason, so can we go back to the reason why I don't believe Jesus was angry? Because there's stories in the Bible that tells us some of his behaviors, with the when he walked through the gates of, I forgot what city it was, and he flipped the table. Like that show, we were supposed to know that Jesus was angry because he was disgusted. Like this is God's land, and you guys are trying to make a profit. So he was angry about that. But when he was fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was led by the Spirit. When we're led by the Spirit, we're not angry. We don't have anger in us.
But he was led by the Spirit to be tempted.
To be tempted, to be tempted, to be tried, and all that kind of stuff. And I just think anything that has to do with the Spirit, that's why we always tap into it, is controlled. Like he knew this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So why be angry, right? You already know. For us, we don't know. We don't know when a prayer is going to be answered. So right? I know I'll be pissed off sometimes. When you gonna answer me, right? Jesus knew. He straight up knew what was happening. He already knew what was happening. He knew why he was there. He knew everything. He knew about Judas. He knew about everybody. Still, even his homeboy, he was not angry. Like, that's why I just don't believe that through those, he wasn't. There's no reason for him to be. And
But this is prior to Judas.
no, I know, I'm just
You're
saying,
just saying in
Jesus,
general.
Jesus, period. We know when
'Cause
he
he knows
when
the
he was
end.
angry. They showed us in the Bible and stories where he was angry. This story, I think he was just like, let's do it.
All right, that's cool.
I
It makes me
let's do
wonder,
it.
so like, Jay, has there been times where you've been tempted and you knew that, like, Jesus, well, did you know that, like, you were being tempted? Did you have your trust in Jesus?
So
Honey
tempted, tested, absolutely, 100%. And I'm gonna come back to you and challenge.
Honey buns?
The
Oh,
honey
okay,
buns.
okay.
What? I am hungry though. No, about the 40 days and 40 nights. But yes, absolutely tested 100%. And again, it took time. I've been going to Sharon Baptist Church since 58th Street.
I thought you was gonna say since 58 years ago. I'm
No,
like,
no.
Like, I didn't know he was that old.
and it still was just a lot of continuous engagement, and it's not the religious part, right, but the spiritual part and the connectivity part. For me to really get an idea is like buying a car. It's like buying a car. I bet you. I ain't got no money to bet you. I'm broke. But I bet you
No, you.
that
No,
when
we are not putting that
when
out
you
there.
purchase your car, when you purchase your car,
Many
any
years
car
ago.
you have ever purchased, I'm gonna challenge you. Tell me that you went on Forbes, Car and Driver, you went down to wherever they manufacture the car and you watched you watched on the production line and you watched the crash rating test and all of that. Right?
No.
You just said you went, you said
But I will say, my dad is a mechanic, and
okay.
he bought and sold cars. So I did do a lot of research before I bought
You
my
did?
car.
Okay, cool. Did you watch the crash
No,
rating?
no.
You know what I'm talking about when they put the
Oh,
dummies
yeah, they put the
behind
dummy
the
in it,
wheel
yeah.
to see it. They do it at 10 and then
seatbelt on,
20 and then
airbags.
30. What they're doing is putting the car through rigorous tests and challenges and all that to make sure that before it reaches your doorstep, your driveway, that it can withstand all of the tests, all of that, right? Now, granted, and we see the commercials where the trucks are driving up these big giant rocks and all of that. We're not going to do that. But what it's saying is that if you just so happen to find yourself in that situation, we've tested this car and it can withstand it. So I believe that every time that I'm being tested, even though sometimes there's a frustration, and then sometimes I got to ground myself. I'm like, all right, I'm being groomed for something that I'm not quite ready for yet. Because if I got it now,
Yes.
I would mismanage it.
Yes.
If I got the job now, that pays more money, perhaps I might mismanage my money.
And let's be clear, God tests us. God does not tempt us.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like, everything in my life, I feel like I had a moment where I was like, he was preparing me for this, and I only received it now because I was ready for it. So I do agree with that. I do agree with that. I can definitely I feel like my husband and my job and my kids are all of them. Like, my first child was a girl because I knew I wasn't ready for a boy. Because I felt like my dad's kind of like, he has 3 daughters. So I always say I'm my dad's son. And he was really hard on me. It was nothing that he didn't expect me to do. He expected me to do everything. Help him take a motor out the car, help him go on the roof, take the trash out, run a mile. Like, so because he was so hard on me when I young, the young Faye, like, under teenager Faye, watching like young Pear Mills, I felt like I just felt like I just felt like they weren't like at the level that how I was how I would expect a man to be. Well, boys, I can't say they were men, and so it just made me have like a little like. So I felt like when I had my daughter, I was like, oh my goodness, thank God, because I wouldn't want to be mean to my son. And then when I like when I met my husband, I was like, he's so, delicate. And I felt like the old me was so mean and vicious. And I felt like God didn't let me meet him until I could be careful with his, his heart. And then like with my job, I feel like he prepared me like to be a leader and not just, someone who, they say, you're supposed to lead, not boss. And I felt like I took me a journey of having bad leadership and having people who didn't like seeing a good leadership and then seeing bad leadership for me to recognize, all right, this is how something should be done. And when I feel like I finally got that, then this door opened for me to be in that position. And I felt like when it happened, I was like, he needed me to get to this point in order to be in this position. So I do feel like, I've been in the wilderness to earn the stripes for all the blessings that I have.
You wanted to go back to?
I'm sorry.
So, no, you're good. What was Matthew? Can I tap a resource?
Yeah, it's the Bible,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. So led by the Spirit. He was in the wilderness 40 days, 40 nights. We talking about whether or
Was he
not,
hungry?
was he
Angry?
hangry?
Was he- was he hangry?
Was he hangry? So, and if we continue, if we continue, still Matthew chapter 4, if we continue to go 1, 2, 3, 4 down to verse 18, 19, and 20, and so forth, I'm just, because we only have what we have in the reading, I feel like I've been in a similar situation, right? 40 days and 40 nights, so to speak, because 40 days and 40 nights could be the equivalent to 3 days and 3 nights. It could be the equivalent to 3 hours, but in a place where being tempted, I get on a call. I call my cousins. I call my brothers. I call my sisters. All I'm saying is 40 days and 40 nights, the devil walk up on them. We continue to read Matthew. Next thing you know, what Jesus started doing? He started gathering his clique. He started gathering his clique. So
Do you see where he's going with this?
So
he started his guys' posse together.
So
He
in
got
the
his
next couple
posse.
verses, he gathered his friends.
This just and if you're thinking about chronological order of Jesus' stories, when before
he was solo.
like he started, that's
Before
what he started.
this.
He was like, "Oh, you come for me like this, so now I'm going to go
I'm
get
gonna-
my
I
boy,
got something for you.
my 12."
Hold on a second.
That's what he.
That's what I'm saying. And we do the same thing. When we tempted,
Uh,
right? Back in the day, Club 101 and
Not Club 101.
101, wherever that might be. That's the college dormitory piece. Down Delaware Avenue, wherever you partied at. Somebody stepped on your shoe or your homegirls or your homeboys.
But Romans
Says what?
12:19.
Do not take vengeance, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath.
So-
But it's written.
so
So we know.
But he prepared himself. He prepared himself
Stop.
because he realized Matthew 18 is his first. He walking alongside. He see two people fishing. I believe as he was walking, he just see two ordinary people dressed in Gucci, all fly, not really get their hands dirty. He two fishermen, biceps bulging, back all flexing. He said, "Yo,
those are boys. Those are them.
two." And then he kept going. Verse 20, verse 22, two more. I'm just saying. it
He still wasn't
followed.
angry.
We don't know that.
He wasn't angry.
It's a possibility.
He wasn't angry.
So we're gonna do some research.
He wasn't
Becker, you got it.
And Jesus was not swayed by our like the stuff that just affects us so easily.
He had human.
Oh no, yeah, but this
Density
is
in that
exactly that's
time.
why he was so great because he was created
Right.
like us, right?
Like us.
But-
He was of a like substance, right? But not the same substance, because
But
he
he
was
was
the
in the-
same substance as God.
Exactly,
like
but he
substance.
was in this world
Mhm.
with us, so he had to be put through the ringer like
Really?
we were, and he handled himself in a way that we still struggle with till this day.
Yes.
Well, Matthew.
He's my
Who is
role
it?
model.
Dude.
Go Jesus,
Yes.
Jesus, Jesus.
Listen.
Look, when I'm starving like Marvin, I want to be like Jesus. If somebody puts a honey bun in front of me, I don't want to just eat it.
This is the second time you talk about this honey bun.
No.
Getting people hungry.
But yeah, look, Satan come to him talking about if you're the son of God, prove it.
Well, this
He
is-
even told him to throw himself off.
He said,
He
commit
said, go
suicide.
kill yourself. Let's see. Your God can bring you back to life. Like, that's so mean. Meanwhile,
He
somebody
said-
say
he
that to
said-
somebody else right now.
He said, throw yourself down.
Mm-hmm, he did.
And for one to have the capacity to throw themselves down, which must mean they
You gotta
must
be
have
up.
been up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can look at it from a human, from an earthly perspective, right? So we see suicides now jumping off of a bridge,
Mhm.
or we can look at it from a heavenly perspective. Again, he knew that,
That's what he. Yeah,
If he was
from.
up.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you are, then really bring yourself down.
Good discussion. So we're gonna end on that. Thank you for joining us at the Walk Podcast. Thank you, Jay,
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Crystal.
It was a good time.